Giving my predictions and breakdown for UFC 323, Jan versus Dvalishvili 2. I'm going to start off with the first fight of the main card. I'm not talking about the prelims. Prelims are alright, they're actually pretty good. Blockhead Marvin Vettori's fighting. I know everyone's excited about that. He's probably going to get ginned, maybe, for once. We'll see. Some other guys are fighting on the prelims that I care a lot about. But, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. Call me casual. I'm keeping this video nice and short and concise. I know you guys got busy lives. You got places to be. You can't be sitting around watching UFC YouTube all day. So I'm just going to make this a short, concise video about the main card and get my predictions and talk about these fights for a little bit. We're going to start with Jan Blachowicz versus Bogdan Guskov. Bogdan Guskov looks like an orc or some kind of mythical creature. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with Jan Blachowicz to outcraft. He's going to be a crafty vet in this performance. God rest Lucas Tracy's soul. I know we all are very sad about that. Anyway, yeah, I think Jan's going to win this one, dude. I think he's just going to outcraft Bogdan Guskov. Bogdan Guskov is just kind of a marauder. He's kind of a marauding blockhead. He doesn't really do much. He just kind of, gets in your face, lands some big shots. He's not really. I don't know. I don't see him on the technical level that Jan Blachowicz is. I think Jan Blachowicz, even though he's 42 years of age, I think he's a very, very sharp, very technical fighter. He was champion for a reason. Beat Prime Izzy. People forget, man, he did that. And I think he's going to get this one done. He had a very competitive fight with Carlos Oberg, which is aging very well, and a lot of people think he won that fight. I don't really feel too strongly about it, but that's something to consider. That was his last fight, and Bogdan's last fight. I don't think he's fought anyone on the level of Jan or anyone on the level Jan's fought, if that makes sense. Bogdan's last win was over Nikita Krylov, who I do not rate very highly. I think he's kind of a bonehead. He ran into a punch from Dominic Reyes. He ran right into it and pretty much did the same thing against Bogdan Guskov. So I don't know. I don't rate that very highly. I know my mic sounds really good too, by the way. I just recorded a short clip. I think it sounds really nice. Yeah, I think Jan is just going to kind of piece up Bogdan. I don't think it's going to be too crazy. Could finish him. He's got the legendary Polish power. Everyone knows, but I think he's just kind of keep him at range, chop the low kicks. We know Jan loves to do that. Pop him with a jab. Land some body kicks, jab, leg kick, that kind of stuff. At range. And I think he's just gonna kind of piece up Bogdan Guskov, show him levels. Remind us all why he was a champion. I don't know what Jan has left in the sport. I don't know that he's going to be a champion again. I really, obviously that's not going to happen. But I don't know what's next for him after this if he does win. But I do believe he's going to do enough to get it done. I'm going to give him 29-28 decision. I think he's going to piece up Bogdan Guskov in range and just outcraft him basically. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that fight. All right, moving on. We got one I am personally very excited for. We've got Peyton Talbot versus Henry Cejudo. I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. I do. I think this is going to be a very good fight. I want to lean towards Cejudo because not that long ago I saw Peyton Talbot getting taken down and nearly finished by Raoni Barcelos, which is a win that is aged for Barcelos. Well, and that's a loss that doesn't look so bad in hindsight. People are starting to realize Barcelos isn't actually half bad. Pretty crafty vet, got some good wins, beat Cody Garbrandt in his next fight. I believe he got another win after that. I'm blanking on who, but Barcelos is a ranked caliber fighter in my opinion, and he beat Talbot. But I do believe Cejudo has better grappling than Barcelos, but the question is, will he use it? Will he employ that grappling? Because Cejudo can win this fight, right? If this is just a skill-for-skill fight, I'm picking Henry Cejudo because he has great grappling, and that's shown to be a weakness for Peyton Talbot, right? But is he going to use it? Because Henry Cejudo is a bit of a blockhead sometimes. He stood in strike with a... Strike? The word is struck. I'm retarded. But struck with Song Yatong. And, I don't think you can do that with Peyton Talbot. I don't think you can stand in front of Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is very accurate, very sharp. He's got an underrated chin. I think Peyton Talbot's got a pretty good chin. He's taking some big shots off of these guys. Johnny Barcelos hit him with some good stuff. Felipe Lima did the same thing, right? And I don't think Henry Cejudo can chin him, right? I think if he stands in front of him, Cejudo is going to be in for a long night, Talbot's a tall, lanky guy with a very long reach, much longer reach than Henry Cejudo, and I think he could use that very well in this fight. And I don't know, man. It's a tough fight for me to predict because I really could. If Cejudo fights the way he should fight and he uses the grappling against Talbot, I pick him, right? But I don't know. I think Peyton Talbot can really put a pace on him and tune him up if they stay standing, and I think that might be what happened. I don't know, man. This is a tough fight for me to predict. I lean towards Cejudo. I think Cejudo is pretty underrated coming into this fight. I think he, you see that 38 years of age versus Peyton Talbot, 27, right? Peyton Talbot's got a lot of hype. Yeah, he looked pretty good in his wins. Got some good finishes, but I don't know. I think this is a big step up for Talbot, who's never fought anyone near the caliber of Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo was a double champion not that long ago, and I feel like people are really discrediting and underrating him. I want Talbot to win. I think it'd be better for the division. Henry Cejudo is doing that whole, I'm gonna retire. I'm really gonna retire, man. If I win this fight, I'm gonna retire, dude. So I think him winning doesn't do much for the division. If he does retire, you got to take that with a grain of salt with Henry Cejudo, but I don't want him to win, man. I don't want him to win. I don't think that does much for the division. It just kind of kills the hype on a young up and coming prospect, and I don't really like that. But I do think he's going to win, man. I think he's very underrated coming into this fight. I think he's a pretty substantial underdog too, which if you're betting, there might be some money there. I don't know, but yeah, man. I think Cejudo's going to win. I think even if he does strike, I think he will do better than people think. I think he's kind of an underrated striker, but. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Cejudo. I'm gonna very tentatively pick Cejudo by decision, but I don't know. If he doesn't grapple and Talbot can keep him at range and pop him with the jab, put combinations together, do that dynamic stuff that he's able to do, land those big shots. He's got a lot of power, right? I think this could be a bad night for Henry Cejudo. I don't think Henry Cejudo is getting chinned. I think Talbot's got a lot of power, but I think Cejudo's got a little Mexican blockhead chin. I don't think he's getting finished by Peyton Talbot. But I do think Talbot has a chance in this fight. I wouldn't count him out entirely. I wouldn't be surprised if he is able to get this one done. But I am going to go with, very tentatively, like I said, I'm going to go with Henry Cejudo to win this fight via decision. I don't see him finishing Talbot, like I said. Talbot's got a pretty good chin. Cejudo's got, decent power, but I obviously don't see him finishing Peyton Talbot. But yeah, man, I think this is going to be a very good fight, very interesting fight. I'm super excited for this one, super excited to see how it goes. But I'm leaning towards Henry. I'm leaning towards Henry Cejudo to get this one done. All right, moving up the card, we got Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. I'm going to go with Moreno on this one. I think he's going to outcraft Taira. I think he's got good scrambles, good striking. I think Taira's got some deficiencies in the striking. There's a hole in his game there to be exploited. We saw that in the Brandon Royval fight. I think he's very good. I think he's a very strong grappler. He's got a lot of potential. Could be champion one day, but I got to go with Moreno on this one, man. I know a lot of people are picking Taira, and I get it. I definitely get it, but I just think Moreno will be able to get at range with him, land his shots, control the pace of the fight, scramble well. I think he'll give up some bad positions, but I think he will land enough meaningful strikes on the feet to even that out and win enough rounds to get the decision. I think Moreno gets this one done by scrambling well, striking, staying at distance, being very well-rounded, being technical, being experienced. He's had a lot of high-level fights. Tatsuro Taira has not. And yeah, I'm going to go with Moreno on decision on this one. I think Moreno wins this one 29-28. I know my 29-28 merchant. I say that for every fight. I think he wins this one by 29-28. It's the safest thing to say. If you say every fight's a 29-28 decision, you don't look like an idiot either way, right? So, yeah, give me Moreno by 29-28. If I'm wrong, if Taira wins, then, I said he won by 29-28, so it's a robbery. But, yeah, that's my prediction for this one. I'm honestly not crazy excited for this fight, but maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll shock me. You know, it'll be a good fight. But yeah, I'm gonna go Moreno by decision on this one. I think he will get enough striking done and get the decision. I tried to record this section of the video. My microphone was off, so we're gonna try it one more time. This time with my microphone on. I think that'll help. I think that'll be better for you guys than just staring at a blank image of Pantoja and Joshua Van. So I'm gonna talk about this fight, co-main event, big fight, flyweight title on the line. Joshua Van, up-and-comer, got a bunch of great wins in a very short amount of time. You know, finished Bruno Silva 3 weeks later. He fights Brandon Royval, #1 contender, on 3 weeks' notice. Beats him up in the fight of the year contender. Great fight. We all love Joshua Van. Super entertaining, super fun fighter, cool dude. We all were rooting for Joshua Van to win the title. We all want this to happen, but it's just not going to happen. I hate to say it, I'm a big Joshua Van fan. We all are glazing Joshua Van this weekend, but he's not going to beat Pantoja. He's got that high-level experience that Joshua Van just does not have at this time. Joshua Van has been training, I believe, for 5 or 6 years professionally versus Pantoja, whose first professional fight was over 15 years ago. He's just got a level of experience that Van cannot compete with. He's been in the octagon with the best fighters in the world time and time again, and he has proven that he is the best in the world time and time again. You know, he's been champion for so long for a reason. Basically cleared out the division. If he beats Van this weekend, which I think he does, he's got to move up and fight Rob. There's nothing else left for him at 125 currently. But with this fight, you know, Van just doesn't have enough ways to win. He's got the great striking, very clean technical boxing, and I think he can piece up Pantoja, but he cannot finish Pantoja. Pantoja has got an iron chin that is, you know, he cannot be finished, it seems like. You know, Pantoja, he's just so good with the grappling, so good at getting you to those bad positions, getting control, threatening submissions, getting submissions, landing ground and pound. And Van he isn't ready for that, man. He isn't ready for that level of grappling. You know, the highest level grappler he's been in there with is Bruno Silva, Ray Soroya. You know, these guys are not on the level of Alexandre Pantoja. They're just not. And, I want Van to win. I think it'd be great for the division. I think he'd be a very great, entertaining champion. I think we all would love to see Joshua Van as champ, and I think he could be champion one day, for sure. I think he's got that level of skill. I think he is a championship caliber fighter, especially at only 24 years old. I think he definitely could be champion, but Pantoja's on a run, man. He is at the top of the division for a reason. He's so good. He's so technical, so well-rounded. You know, everyone's making a big deal of, oh, Van's that much better for striker. I think Pantoja's not a terrible striker. I think he's a decent striker. He's kind of rounded that aspect of his game now. And I just think he is so unbelievably dominant with the grappling that Van he's not going to be able to hang with him. You know, I think it's only a matter of time before Pantoja gets him down. And when he gets him down, I don't think Van will have anything for him. I really don't. And, I'm picking Pantoja to win this fight by submission. I think honestly, round 1 submission. I think it's going to be sad. We're all going to be crying. We're all going to have our hearts broken to see the Van title run coming to an end. But man, Pantoja is good. He is good. He is pound for pound. He is dominant. And I just don't think Van's ready. I don't think he's ready for that level of grappling. I think he takes him down round 1, and I think he locks up a rear naked choke and finishes Joshua Van. So, I hate to see it. I hate to make that prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I'm praying I'm wrong, and that Joshua Van puts on a 5-round masterclass and spins Pantoja's little blockhead jaw. I like Pantoja, don't get me wrong, but I would love to see Joshua Van as champ, but, you know, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's the time for it yet, but, that's my prediction. Pantoja by round 1 submission. I think he's going to get it done early. We're all going to have our hearts broken. And, that's pretty much it for that fight. All right, moving on. The main event of the evening, Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan 2. The rematch. Merab 50-45 them the first time. This is how much this dude's cleared out the division, that he is rematching people that he is 50-45. Kind of crazy. But I'm excited. I'm a big Petr Yan fan. I think most of us are. You know, he's a cool dude. He's got a cool fighting style, but I think we all know how this one's going to go. I think this is going to be another Merab 48-47 against the cage, laying in those shots. You know, his stand-up has evolved since the first time they fought. You know, I hate to say it like this, but I think Merab's evolved a whole lot more since their first fight versus Petr Yan. You know, I know Petr Yan's hand was injured in that fight. I believe his right hand was broken. And, you know, he had that head clash that swelled up the eye. You know, that affected the fight for sure. But I just don't have a reason to think Petr Yan is going to do enough to get it done in this fight. And I would love if he did. I think Petr Yan should be the champion, right? Like, he's the guy to be champion. You know, he's got that well-rounded, great to watch strike. He is like a, you know, when you think of bantamweight strikers, you know, maestros on the feet, right? You think of guys like Petr Yan, but I just don't think he's going to beat him, man. I don't think he's got what it takes to stop the takedowns. Nobody does at bantamweight, I believe. I don't think anybody can really beat him besides Umar. I would think Umar could maybe beat him in a rematch, but yeah, man. I think we all know how this one's going to go. I think Merab's going to pressure him. He's going to get in his face. He's going to threaten the takedowns. He's going to grab a hold of him, land shots in the clinch. I think Merab's stand-up has evolved a whole lot since their last fight. I think he's gotten a lot better at landing shots, got pretty underrated power, honestly, I believe. You know, you worry so much about the takedowns and the frantic movement, you know, how he's all jittery, you know, chewing his invisible gum like he does, you know what I'm talking about. He's gritting his teeth, getting in your face, landing those wild shots, and you know, I don't think he's going to finish Petr Yan. Some people are saying he's going to finish Petr. Calm down, guys. Petr Yan never been finished. Been in there with guys like Sean O'Malley, guys like Aljo. Never been finished. Merab ain't going to finish him, you know. As I say that, we're cut to 3 days from now and Petr Yan's face down. No, that's not going to happen. Merab is going to win 48-47 decision. I think this might be a little bit more competitive than the first fight. You know, with no injuries coming in for Petr Yan. Maybe, you know, he's been in there with him before. Maybe he can upgrade game plan. You know, he's a very intelligent fighter, you know. Jan's downloading data, bro. Jan's getting taken down for the 15th time. He's downloading data, bro. Wait. He's figuring him out. It's round 5. Been taken down 37 times. He's downloading the data, bro. Wait. He's going to figure him out. Hold on. He's going to figure him out. But, yeah, dude. He ain't going to win. Merab's going to do what Merab does. He's going to do what he does. And, after this fight, you have to do Pantoja versus Merab. I want to see it. Everyone wants to see it. That fight would be so crazy. That'd be so sick to see. Everyone wants to see that fight. You have to make it. Umar's fighting in January. He's fighting Figgy. I think he wins that, obviously. And after he wins, he's in line for a title shot again. But I don't really care to see that right now. I don't care to see that. I have no reason to believe that fight's going to go any differently than the first time, right? I want to see Pantoja versus Merab. I think that'd be a generational fight. Both these guys are on a crazy run, and I don't know who'd win. I don't know who I'd pick in that fight. That wouldn't be like, oh, Merab's just going to dominate. Oh, Pantoja's just going to dominate. You know, you don't know with that fight. That'd be a crazy fight. And honestly, if Merab, you know, I don't think I don't know. I mean, he could do this, but if he were to fight Pantoja and he beats Pantoja, and if he were to rematch and he beats Umar, what's next? He's beat everybody. He's beat everybody in his own division. He fought the champion and beat him. If this were to happen, and he beat Pantoja, there'd be nobody left. He'd have to move up and fight whoever's champ at 45. That is what I'd like to see. But you know, that's a far-fetched scenario. I don't know that that's ever going to happen, but would be cool to see. But anyway, that's just some speculation, some hypotheticals. But yeah, I think Merab's going to get it done. I think he's going to pressure him, get in his face, land those shots, be a blockhead. Petr Yan's going to be downloading data, getting his little brain overloaded by Merab, twitching around, gritting his teeth, you know, emoting. You know the emotes are coming out in this fight. You know he's winning the fight via emotes. Round 5 emoting for Merab. So, yeah, I'm picking Merab to win this by decision. I think it'll be more competitive than the first fight. I think it'll be closer. I think you'll see less grappling from Merab and more striking, and I think he'll do better in the striking than people think. But I also think with him striking more, that'll give Petr Yan more opportunities to land his shots. So I think it'll be a competitive fight. I think it'll be a good fight. But I think Merab will clearly win. And then you make Pantoja versus Merab. You have to. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching.